This is TWiT.
Did any of you get a Mac Pro, iMac Pro for Christmas?
Sadly, no.
Marcus Brownlee got one. I think some others. Jim, were you on that list?
No, I didn't get one.
So a few people got it a week ago. It is now out. Well, it will be available for order on Thursday. Better start saving now, though.
Yeah.
Actually, if you could save $5,000 in 2 days, you're a better man than I am, Gungadin. Marcus Brownlee says only 8. We're now quoting Marcus Brownlee on our show. Only 8 or 10 core models will be available on Thursday. He says the high-end 18-core will ship early next year alongside an unannounced 14-core model that will be added for a total of 4 Intel Xeon processor configurations. So now it's deceptive because Marcus decided to put this on top of a what looks like, I think, a hard drive container. So that is not...
That was scary.
That's a 12 South high rise.
Okay, you recognize it.
Yeah, he mentions it in the video. It's basically just a riser.
Okay. So, but
Yeah,
it's deceptive because that's not it.
I was mistaken with that too. I looked at it and thought, "What? That's not what I remember the iMac Pro looking like."
I wish it did, kind of.
I was wondering. I was wondering, did he get an email yet or a phone call from Apple PR saying, "Hi, love the video. It would be great if you could redo it, only with the Mac not on that ugly box."
Johnny, this is Johnny Ive. We didn't make the most beautiful Mac we've ever made for you to trash it.
Yeah.
But did you see the other video? Jonathan Morrison, I think it was.
Yeah, he's using it. He made an 8K video, which he edited on it.
He basically takes it outside, puts it on a table, and then spends the entire time talking about how things match or don't match aesthetically.
Okay, there you go. Well, I'm glad the really important reviewers got a early edition. This is Apple showing that, once again, as it did with the iPhone 10, that it's the YouTubers that it really cares about. Although this $5,000 iMac is aimed at the Pro.
Right.
Well, both of them are pros. No question.
This is who they're going for. They're going for like editors. So
right.
People who doing 4K video, 8K video. This is a really nicely targeted selection here.
Now I know Renee is not here. I'm guessing Renee is not here because he is going to San Jose to get his iMac.
You have to take it in person. I mean, they have to like handcuff it to you or something on the airplane.
One wonders. One wonders.
I think they have. Don't they have FedEx in Canada?
Yeah,
I mean,
Renee likes to go down and get the briefings. You know, I don't blame them. I would.
So to be fair, there was a developer who did some aerospace engineering and serious software development who also got one. A guy named Craig Hunter, I think it was, and he wrote up a very nice review with some benchmarks of what he had experienced in a week of serious usage for engineering and development, which was a little bit more informative for people who are thinking about anything other than video.
Yeah, I mean, he tested it with computational fluid dynamics.
Yep. Yeah, doesn't everyone do that?
Yeah, and by the way, it's very fast. If you're doing computational fluid dynamics, you'll be very happy with your new iMac Pro. But very important, this is not upgradable in any way. There's no even little door for adding RAM. This is what you buy is what you get forevermore.
You get what you get, and you don't get upset.
But pros, $5,000 to me sounds like a lot of money, but to pros it's not, right? And in a way, upgradability is, I don't know. I'm guessing Apple probably figured this out. That upgrade. What do you think, Jim? Upgradability, is that an issue for these guys? Anybody buying this?
Well, I think when you look at the power of this machine, I don't know that upgradability is that much of an issue because they pack so much into it to begin with. So if you look at a Pro, and I'll take this from the music standpoint, in a studio, they want a machine that has expandability as far as getting all of your devices plugged in there, but they also need raw power. That's what they want to be able to do. And upgradability is a thing if you buy on the low end and then, later on want to add more RAM or want to, add something else to it. But it seems to me, looking at the iMac Pro, you really don't need to do any of that. because it comes, stacked as it is.
Yeah. Craig, as developer of Theodolite, used a flow simulation. He says this is a good test of parallel processing. It's a very good multi-core benchmark. He said, contrary to what people may think, throwing more cores at a problem isn't always going to make a problem faster, because at some point the cores, I'm quoting him, start to compete for various system resources like memory and disk, and the performance flattens out. And you can see that in the timing chart that I'm showing on the screen. The red line, of course, the smallest line, and smaller is better, is the new iMac Pro 27-inch for 2017. It's running a Xeon W2155 at 3 gigahertz, a 10-core processor. But he says, yes, you're seeing the flattening, but nevertheless, all across the number of cores, you're seeing real speed improvements over every other Mac. And he threw in a few Linux servers just to compare. What's weird to me is that the MacBook Pro is the most competitive, but it only goes, of course, to 4 cores. The 2016 MacBook Pro. So it benchmarks quite well, I guess, is the point.
Yeah,
I think it's also really important to understand who this is going for, though. When people look at the price, they say, well, I'm not going to spend $5,000 on an iMac. Well, that's because this machine wasn't made for those people. I can, in my home studio, I can very easily use Pro Tools or Logic and record a song and, record a whole band if I wanted to. And on a regular iMac. But if I really wanted to dig in and, have all kinds of things going on, then the iMac Pro would be the ultimate.
He did point out that in single-core performance, the 2017 iMac with its quad-core i7 at 4.2 is faster. So you only makes sense if you're doing multi-core and you need all those cores. He says by 4 cores, the advantage that the higher clock speed on the current iMac has disappears. From 4 to 10 cores, the iMac Pro runs away. If you can take advantage of AVX 512, the iMac Pro runs away.
I seem to remember that the same was true of the original 27-inch iMac and Mac Pro. That Marco Arment, I think, did some testing and found that if you weren't doing all the multi-core stuff, then the iMac was actually faster than the Mac Pro.
Yeah.
So, this stuff gets really finicky. And perhaps the main thing to remember is a lot of us used to get Pro Macs because we considered ourselves professionals. I'm a professional writer, for instance, and I needed 2 monitors and more RAM than someone who was just, keeping their recipe database on it or something. And so, back in the days of the Power Macs and even the cheese grater Mac Pros, you often bought the Mac, the high-end professional Mac, just because you needed a little bit more expandability, 2 monitors, more disk space, things like that, than you could get with whatever was considered standard at the time. Nowadays, that 27-inch iMac, I'm sitting here looking at one, it's a pretty damn good machine for just about anything, until you get to that point where you need a Mac Pro or you need an iMac Pro. That if you really are doing that video stuff, that you need the most power. So if you're just coming from the old days where you think, oh, I'm a business person, I need the professional Mac, not true anymore. You just need a decked out iMac or MacBook Pro.
Yeah, but above all, remember that this is an iMac Pro, and there's still going to be a Mac Pro coming up in 2018. So if they were saying this is the only Mac Pro we're ever doing, then yes, we could be a lot more concerned about not even RAM expandability. But if it really is for people who really do need that sort of like kick butt power, not just for 4K video editing, but 8K video editing and motion graphics. But they don't have the sort of they're not doing like AI stuff that will require. I'm going to have to, my needs next year or the year after are going to be much different from my needs today. And I actually care about being able to lift up the side of this thing and stick new hardware in or stick another card in. These are people that have a real task in mind. They're the people who want to take something out of the box, put it on the desk, plug it in, and then get going. And it's an iMac. It's an iMac, but one that could propel the Enterprise at sublight speeds.